board. Slide all the way down the road for me, filling in all available space. Jumbo. Jumbo. Happy birthday, Carl. You don't fit, you're on the next truck. Don't worry, I'll miss you too.
Watch elbows, kids are gonna close. Watch hands on the right, the doors are gonna close.
I'll train them few pups. Thank you so much, Warden.
I don't know.
Maybe in a second we'll leave. We'll stay. We just want to spend more time with you. Thank you, Warden. We'll see you in about 2 weeks. Jumbo, everyone. My name is Sydney, and I'm going to be your safari driver today through the Ronald Bay Wildlife Reserve. Now, while you guys are on my safari, I do ask a few things of you. Just please remain seated at all times. If you are taking pictures, that's wonderful. Just hold on really tight to those cameras, because if something wants to fall out of my truck, I can't stop to get it for any reason. You might see an animal spotting guide above your head. There's lots of animals on there, and I might not be able to see all of them, but I usually have a pretty good chance.
And since no one's allowed to stand up, if you have any children...
Also, anyone on their first safari today? First safari goers? Couple in the back? Awesome! Well, even if it isn't your first safari, it's probably your first safari with me, so we're going to have a good time. Don't worry.
In a forest. It's called the...
Now, the reserve here was established in 1971. That's good for us, though, because the animals are now accustomed to coming up to our trucks, and we get some pretty awesome pictures, so hopefully we'll get some pretty awesome ones today.
Most of the animals out here, they're only form of protection.
Just wait for the all clear in just a moment.
If you got a digital camera,
Also, you have a sports setting on your camera. You might want to change it to that. Tend to get better pictures that way.
Because there's no main roads out here at all. It's kind of hard to get a photograph of rough against. That's why everyone's got to see the sea. All right, now that being said, let's see if we can find any animals out here this afternoon. Let's see what kind of luck we have out here.
We'll let that truck in front of us get a little bit of distance. Any specific animals we want to see today? Anybody dying to see a specific animal?
Giraffe.
Giraffe. Giraffes are cool. Zebras. Maybe. Hippos. Hippos are fun. I like hippos. Lions. Yes. Lions are very cool. Elephants. Yes, I like elephants too. Well, we'll see if we can find some. Go ahead and get started here in the Little Ituri Forest. Now, the animals here like to blend into their surroundings, so everyone do me a favor and make sure you keep those eyes peeled for me. You never know what you're going to find in a bush or some bamboo or maybe up on a hill. If you look to the right, you'll see an okapi. Now, okapis look like they're related to the zebra, but they're actually the only known relative of the giraffe. They were not discovered by the Western world until 1901. Now, watering holes like the ones to my left are home for more of the rare species, such as the black rhino. But sadly, due to poaching, there are less than 5,000 black rhinos in the world. We'll see if we can find them today. Oh, there he is. If you look to your left, far up on the hill, you might be able to spot him. All the way back in the back on the hill. Now, his horn is made of keratin, which is the same material that is found in your fingernails and in your hair. They're also about 2,000 pounds less than a white rhino, and hopefully up ahead in the savannah, we'll be able to tell the difference. Let's see if we can find any more cool animals around. Might be able to spot a few up on the hill to your left. You see their horns. They're reddish in color. They're actually called bongos. I can only see their horns right now. They're known as the ghosts of the forest because they are rarely seen. They have backward-shaped antlers so that they can scurry fast through the forest without getting stuck on any debris. actually one of my favorite animals, just because they look so cool. Now we're about to head into the Safi River. This is where we almost always see hippos. Yay! Now hippos are known as river horses, but they're not related to the horse in any way. They're actually related to the cow, the pig, and the whale. We saw one, it's probably going to be in the water, and if you look down to your right, you might be able to spot some.
There's 2 in the morning.
Now hippos can hold their breath from 5 to 8 minutes underwater. A male hippo can weigh up to 5,000 pounds, while a baby when born only weighs 85 pounds. Let's see if we can find any more around the corner here. There's some to the left behind that little island. Now hippos are very good swimmers, but they often just tiptoe on the bottom of the river. They also can run about as fast as a human can on land, so if you ever run into a hippo, you might want to get out of its way. And the birds on the island to the left are called the pink-backed pelicans. And they'll actually get their pinkish color during mating season. There's a couple more hippos over here. I want to get you pretty close to this one. There you go. Staying cool in the water today. That's what I'd be doing. Now as we head around the corner, if you look down to your left, you might be able to spot some Nile crocodiles. Now Nile crocodiles are about as long as a giraffe is tall, which is around 20 feet. They can also crush at a pressure of 2,000 pounds per square inch. They also are cold-blooded, so they'll keep their mouths open sometimes to regulate their body heat. They look like they haven't had their lunch yet, so I say let's get out of here. Now we're about to head into a completely different ecosystem, and it's called the savanna. You're going to see lots of different types of animals here, and also different types of trees. If you look to your right, you'll see a baobab tree. Now baobab trees like that one, they're also known as upside down trees because they look like they have roots coming out of the top. They go leafless 9 months out of the year. It's pretty cool. They also have really big trunks so they can store lots of water in there. Now this is my personal favorite view of the whole reserve. The Serengeti grasslands actually stretch for hundreds of miles and are home to many migrating animals. Also home to more of those famous animals you guys were talking about earlier, like the elephant and the lion. So we'll see if we can find any today. But if you look to your right real quick, you might be able to spot some sable antelopes. Now sables like those, they're the emblem of our reserve here at Harambe. They're pretty special to us because they just joined us again after having little babies, but I didn't see them today. Also probably we'll see another animal coming up here with really, really long horns. That's called an Anguli cattle. Also known as a Watusi cattle from the tribe that first domesticated it. Now its horns are about 6 feet long and the circumference of its horns is about 20 inches. Their horns look like they're very heavy, but they're actually not heavy at all. And the inside they're shaped like a honeycomb and they have blood vessels that run all the way from the tip of the horn back to the animal's head and it acts as a cooling system. It's pretty neat. Now, is anyone familiar with what the big tall cones of dirt to the right and the left are called? They're similar to anthills. They're called termite mounds. They're actually as hard as concrete. Elephants will use them as back scratching posts. Once they knock them over, those smaller animals, they'll climb up on top to look for predators. Looks like we're going to get pretty close to an Anguli cattle though, so if that's what you were looking for, then you're in luck. Pretty awesome, right? It's not your typical cow. We'll see what other fun animals we can find in here. Now, if you look to your right on the hill, you might be able to spot some animals already. They're grayish in color. Like they're just chowing down on some grass right now. But they are called white-bearded wildebeest. They're actually nicknamed the New for the new grunting sound that they make. They also travel in really big herds, migrating from location to location. The translation of the Afrikaans word literally means wild beast. Now that smaller one lying down, that's actually called a springbok. And they can jump in the air up to 12 feet. Now I see a really awesome animal up ahead, and actually I see a couple in the trees. I'll be able to get pretty close in a second, but it is a giraffe. Now there's two types of giraffes. There's a reticulated giraffe and the Maasai giraffe. Reticulated actually comes from the Latin word reticulata, meaning net, for the net-shaped pattern they have on their bodies. Maasai giraffe have more of a lacy, rigid edge pattern, but the ones on the reserve are all Maasai's right now. Now giraffes do have 7 vertebrae, just like we do. They also eat from 18 to 20 hours during the day, similar to ourselves sometimes. The Swahili word for a giraffe is twiga, in case you were wondering. It's my favorite Swahili word. They also can run about 30 miles per hour, which is pretty fast for a giraffe and very entertaining. Just watch their little legs catch up their really long bodies. It's pretty fun to watch. Now the one in the far back in the trees is darker in color. It's actually a male, and he's the oldest we have on the reserve right now. Now the landscape around here is shaped from the animals that live here. So the giraffes, they act like pruning shears and they'll eat leaves off the top of the trees. And elephants come around and they act like bulldozers knocking down those trees. Then you have smaller animals like antelopes. They act like lawnmowers. And even smaller little nibblers, such as the warthog, they trim up the edges. So in a balanced ecosystem, that basically just means everyone gets something good they can eat. It's all part of the circle of life. Speaking of knockdown trees though, I do see a couple up ahead, so that should mean there's an elephant somewhere around here. I think I might already see one, which is good for us, good for me too, because I love elephants. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer here. Now this elephant looks like he's all by himself, which must mean he's a bull elephant. Now bull elephant also means male elephant. I know he's a male because he's by himself, like I said. But males lead the herd when they reach the end of adolescence, which is around 13 years old. It's actually the second longest childhood. Does anyone know the first longest childhood? It's a trick question. It's actually humans. Gotcha. But if you look to the left, you might be able to spot another animal. There are a couple of monkeys running around. They're called mandrill monkeys. They're actually the most colorful monkey in all of Africa. The male can weigh up to 100 pounds, while a female only weighs 30 pounds. And they'll pick bugs off each other to make their social ties stronger. Now, both male and female elephants do have tusks, so that is not how you tell them apart here in Africa. But if he's here, then his herd must be somewhere close by. And I usually go that way, but that road looks like it's closed today, so I have to find a different way around. But I'm sure you folks don't mind a 3-week safari instead of a 2, right? Right. All right. I knew you'd want to spend more time with me. Well, I don't remember this bridge from the detour the other week, but we'll try it. Sounds sounds pretty bad to me. Actually, the song's really terrible. Hold on tight, guys. I'll try to make it to the other. Oh my goodness! Lean right, everyone, lean right. Oh my gosh! Is everyone okay back there? I had to close my eyes for a second, so I hope nobody fell off. But if you lost your friend, just text them. Tell them to hashtag lost in Africa. Maybe you can find them later. Now we're headed into the red clay pits. This is where the elephants like to hang out to eat the beneficial minerals from the clay. Just like we eat vitamins, they eat red clay. And I see tusk marks everywhere, so it must mean there's some up ahead. I think I spot a herd over to the left, but we'll get a little closer than that. Now elephants are sadly poached because of their ivory tusks, but scientists here at Harambe are trying to figure out how they communicate with one another so we can better understand what they need in order to survive. Trying to get around the corner because I think I saw a small baby. And sometimes if I'm lucky I can even pick up a radio station. Plays my favorite song over and over again, so we'll see if it'll come today. There we go. Awesome. I'm gonna stop right up here for you, don't worry. There you go. That's why we call it elephant country. Now elephants will flap their ears like that, and if that's because they have blood vessels in their ears. They can actually cool themselves off up to 15 degrees by doing so. And they'll throw dirt on their back as well. That's to protect themselves from the sun because they get very sunburned. Oh, there's some more back if you look to your left. They also drink about 30 gallons of water a day, and they have about 40,000 muscles in their trunk, so they're pretty strong. Now, if you look to the left, you'll spot the greater flamingos. Now, greater flamingos are actually born gray, but they gain their pinkish color through their diet, mostly of fried shrimp, which is high in beta-carotene. I think I found some other cool animals though. If you look to the left in just a moment, you'll spot some zebras. Now zebras are black with white stripes because of the reference point of their nose. No two zebra stripes are ever the same, much like our fingerprint. They also have enough force in that kick to break a lion's jaw. So that's pretty cool. I do see some mud pits, and usually that means I can find some white rhinos around here, so let's see if we have any luck today. There is another small antelope though, if you look to your left. That's called a bontebok. It's actually extinct in the wild, and you can only find them on reserves such as this one. Now, if you guys look to the left, you might be able to spot some cheetahs. I have some trouble finding them, so I might need your help. You see him? Aha! Between the two trees, I see his head. Now cheetahs can run up to 60 miles per hour, but they can only do that for about the length of a football field. It's the only amount of stamina that they truly have. They also are the only cat that will hunt during the day using their sense of sight. They're the only cat in the wild that will purr as well. Swahili word for a cheetah is duma. There's some more right beside the hut. If you look at the little hut, they're on the ground to the other side. They're hiding in the shade. I don't really like to get too hot. Might be able to see its spots at least. Well, let's see what else we can find though. Now we're headed on to the Kobe Rocks. Does anyone know who likes to hang out here? Lions, you got it. So see if we can find some. Oh, they could be anywhere in the rocks, so just make sure you guys look for me. Sometimes I have a better chance around the corner, so we'll see if they're over there. I do see a white rhino though. If you look to your right, you'll spot one. Now white rhinos come from the Afrikaans word vite, meaning wide for wide mouth. That's how they got their name. You can tell they're pretty much a little bit bigger than that black rhino we saw earlier. Now they are poached for their horns, which are sadly listed very highly on the black market, and they're even poached on reserves, such as this one. Let's see if we can find some lions though. I see him lying up on the rocks. See his head as we come around the corner. Now lions do remain inactive from 18 to 20 hours during the day. And the female does most of the hunting, and she'll do that at night in packs. Swahili word for a lion. I know you guys know this one. Simba, you got it. Shocking, I know. It's not like there's a movie. Speaking of Simba though, if you look to your left real quick, right between the trees, you might be able to spot a warthog. Now warthogs are the largest burrowing mammal. They actually back into their burrows to protect themselves from predators. Now we don't call them Pumbaa here because Pumbaa actually means foolish, so we just call them warthogs. Pretty smart though, because those tusks are really sharp, so they seem bigger than they actually are. Here's a pretty good view of a white rhino in just a second. There we go. Now, if he was with some of his friends, we'd call that a crash, because a group of white rhinos is called a crash for a very appropriate reason. Now, if you look to your left or real quick, you'll spot an ostrich walking. Now, an ostrich can run up to 30 miles per hour. Largest flightless bird, but they really scare me, so let's get out of here. Now we're about to head into the desert land of Africa. There's a couple of cool animals that like to hang out here, so we'll see if we can find them. One, the birds that are up on the hill to the right, those are called yellow-billed storks. They're actually carnivorous birds, meaning they eat fish, smaller birds, snakes, and frogs. Actually have a wingspan of around 6 feet. And there's a group of animals that are going to be on your right, lying down in like a little cuddle formation. Those are called addax. Now, addax can go most of their lives without drinking any water, and that's because they get their nutrition from what they eat. They also are poached for their horns as well. Pretty sad. Well, this part's a little bumpy, so everyone just hold on for me. Alright. Now, y'all saw some really awesome animals today. But sadly, a lot of them are endangered and even extinct in the wild, which makes me really sad because I love animals. But we can do a lot to help these animals, simple things actually, like recycling your old laptops, computers, and cell phones, or even recycling plastic bottles and cans you have lying around the house. What we do together really does make a difference for these animals, as well as for our environment, which in the end will affect us. Now, if you guys want a closer look at some awesome animals, I suggest checking out the Pangani Forest Trail. You might be able to see a baby gorilla there or a naked mole rat. People over there are really friendly and they really know their stuff, so if you ever have a question, you should for sure ask them. Also, if you are a wilderness explorer riding with me today, you've been riding on Simba 1. Don't forget the wilderness always needs to be explored. I'll drop you guys off right here at the Warden's Post. It's a short walk back to the Harambe village. Hope everyone had a great time today, and here in Harambe, we really don't like to say goodbye. Instead, we say Kwaherini, which means go well. So Kwaherini, my new friends. Asante Sana. Thank you guys so much for joining me today.